Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Ramsey, and I am the president of Pink Dog Digital. We are a full service digital marketing company, and today we are going to talk to you about maximizing your impact with email marketing. My guest is Coral Norman, our director of digital media here at Pink Dog. So we're going to do this kind of in a Q&A style. If you have questions, please feel free to drop it into the Q&A. And I will be looking at those, so will George. So without further ado, Coral, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the questions.
Sure. So I'm excited to be here today. I've been really enjoying hosting these webinars. But I think that email marketing is kind of a big one that we're excited about right now because it is one of those marketing strategies that is staying pretty consistent throughout, over time. And then a little bit about me. I am the director of digital here. I've been working with Gina on and off for about a decade or so. Been at Pink Dog since 2019, a year after the company started. I've worked with social media marketing, content marketing, email marketing, a little bit of everything. I kind of just enjoy dabbling in all the sections of websites and digital. So excited to talk a little bit more about email marketing today.
Great. So just to kick us off, why is email marketing still one of the most effective tools for small and medium-sized businesses, even with so many digital marketing channels available?
That is an excellent question. So the primary reason that email marketing does so well is because you're meeting your customers where they're at. Everybody is in email every day. I know I basically live in my inbox most of the time because I get a lot of emails from clients. But it also is just a really easy and good touch point. The other important thing here is that the return on investment with email marketing is insanely good. For every $1 spent on email marketing, the average ROI is $40. It's a little bit higher for larger businesses, sometimes a little bit lower for small businesses, but it's an easy and quick touch point for your customers and clients where they're able to see exactly what you've got going on directly in their inboxes. They're not having to go to other websites to see it. It's not showing up as an ad. It's just an easy digital marketing channel as opposed to, if you've got organic social, which is still important, but organic social is a little tough right now because you are fighting with the algorithm. There's no algorithm to fight with in email, so it's a little bit better.
Awesome. So for businesses just getting started, what's the best way to grow a healthy, engaged email list?
There are a couple of good ways to do this. One of the first ways is to capture email on your website and making sure that you have a form up there to get people to sign up for your email on your website. If they're already there, they're already interested, they're already starting to engage with you. So that's a good place to start. The other way is developing your CRM to make sure that it has your customer and client emails in it. They're going to be the ones that are the most engaged because they're already working with you. So it's already a strong client base. So those are two of the best ways. And then you also want to look into running social media ads is a good way to do it, to get email from people that are already engaged and interested. One thing we do not recommend doing pretty much ever, on very rare occasions it can work, but we pretty much never recommend buying an email list. If you purchase an email list, you're going to get in trouble most of the time because people don't want you to show up in their inbox if they haven't asked for it. They will report you as spam. Google will flag you, and then you will find yourself unable to use your email client at all. So strongly recommend against that.
Can you explain an email client for those of the people in the audience that don't know what that means?
Yeah, so an email client is what you're sending email out in. So you never want to just drop into your Gmail account or your Outlook and send an email out to, 100 people at a time because it's another way Google's going to flag you as spam. Instead, you want to be going through what's called an email client or I can't remember the acronym that a lot of them use. There is an acronym for this, but I need to go look at it again. But at any rate, an email client is a way to send out mass emails without showing up in the spam box every time. So some really common email clients are MailChimp, which is our favorite. It's the one that we use for our own emails and the one that we typically recommend to our clients. Constant Contact is another common one. HubSpot typically has an email client built in. There's a couple of other ones, but our two favorite are MailChimp and Constant Contact. Reachmail is another big one.
Okay. So, how can small to medium sized businesses encourage people to subscribe without relying solely on discounts?
That's another good question. Encouraging people to subscribe. Usually the best way to do that is just to make sure that they know that the value they're going to get. If there's not a discount involved, you need to tell them why they're subscribing to your email list. Are they subscribing because they're going to get coupons later down the line? Are they subscribing because they are going to get more information about your business? Are they subscribing? What is the reason? What's the value add behind it? So, another way that a lot of businesses encourage people to sign up for email is by providing a value add like a white paper or another type of digital asset, so that when you sign up for that email, they're going to send you that digital asset that you're interested in, and then they're going to sign you up for their email list. So the best way to do that is to make sure that you are providing value within that email instead of just saying, sign up for our email list. If they don't know what's in it, if they don't know what they're getting, there's no way anyone's going to sign up. Does that answer that
Yeah.
question?
I just think that even in a nurturing campaign where it's a regular monthly email, the content that you put in it is critical. If people don't
Yeah.
find the content en- engaging, where they don't learn something, where they don't have a takeaway, they're not going to continue to subscribe to whatever they've subscribed to. So, for example, in our emails, we try and provide 4 different pieces of content every month, plus a tool that we like, so that there's something for everyone. And I think that's really important to make sure that you are providing a takeaway.
Yeah, and we see sometimes, usually businesses will create emails that are, very, very long. I get an email every week from basically, and it's not a chamber, but similar to like a local chamber type organization. And the email every month or every week is very, very much the same with maybe a couple different little changes in it. And it is just words, and it is about 500 words to 1,000 words. And I pretty much click out of it every time because it's overwhelming and it's too much. And the information might be good, but I can't see it quickly. I can't see it easily. And I feel like there's too much in it. So I think the important takeaway there is to make sure that whatever your content is that you're putting in that email is content that is going to interest your client or customer base, and is content that is going to be quick and easy to digest, because while the ROI is good on email, and while lots of people open your emails, if they don't find any value from it, or they think it's too hard because their inbox is so full, they're going to click right out or delete it because people don't have time. So,
Okay. So we hear all the time about segmentation. What is it? How can a small team realistically manage it? And why is it important?
yeah, so segmentation allows you to better personalize your email campaigns, especially if you're running nurturing campaigns or drip campaigns, which are basically campaigns that are going to people who are already interested to help continue trying to drive them and get information. So if you think about it, it's like if you subscribe to an email list for your favorite store to shop at, you're going to get a nurturing campaign from them that's going to have coupons in it. It's going to have information about their latest styles. It's going to have all of that. So a lot of times those types of businesses, when they segment based on what you've purchased before, what your buying behavior looks like, how often you're coming back to the website, things like that. So they have a little more resources to be able to do things like that and really segment down that way. But for small businesses, it's a little bit different. So, for example, for a service based business, one of the companies we work for does duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning for both commercial and residential clients. So, one of the best ways for them to segment is by residential and commercial so that they're sending out the right information to each one, rather than just sending everything all at once and just shooting it off into the void and hoping that it works. You want to have a segmented list for commercial where they're just receiving emails about commercial products, and then maybe one email that goes out to everybody just about your general updates. But the commercial one is getting that. The residential one is getting one that just talks to residential products. So you just want to make sure that you're segmenting it based on common sense to a point, because you are going with, what are your clients looking at? What types of clients do you have? And if you know your client base well, you'll have a good idea of how to create those segments in your email client. As far as keeping up with it, you just want to make sure that you have somebody on your team, or if it's just you or whoever it is, that is taking a look at least once a month at the email subscribers and making sure that things are properly segmented based on how they came in, where they came in, and what it looks like in your CRM. Did that answer all of those questions? Did I miss anything?
Nope, you're good. Plus, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, so we in the industry, every time an email is sent out, we call it a campaign. What makes a great email campaign? Is it design, copy, timing, a mix of all of the above? What makes it truly stand out?
It's a mix. And that's kind of the hard part, is you can't just have, if you have, like I said, this email that I get all the time, great content, terrible design, I'm going to click off. You want to make sure that you are looking at all of the variables when you are sending these things out. So you want to take a look at making sure that your design is consistent. It is easy to navigate. It is something that your clients come to expect from you. And if you're going to completely change your design, send an email saying, hey, we changed our design this month. Let us know what you think. Ask for feedback, but make sure that your design is staying pretty consistent. The content has to be good. The segmentation has to be correct. You also want to look at timing, as Gina mentioned. Most email clients are able to tell you the best time to send an email based on the emails that you have sent previously, and will help you schedule it that way. So, for instance, one of our best times to send emails is Tuesday mornings, and I would say like Thursday nights or something like that, which I always found strange. But if you deliver it at Thursday night, it's going to pop up Friday morning in an inbox. So that's probably the main reason it recommends that. But you'll find those recommendations most of the time in your email client. But if you're not looking there, it's always a good idea to just do a little bit of research based on your industry and see what the best time is to send those types of emails. Across the board, universally, Tuesday mornings are really good times because people are unburied from the Monday morning crush, the Monday afternoon crush. They're finally in a place where they have a little bit of breathing room. So most of the time, Tuesday mornings, people have a little bit of space to actually read and engage with those emails.
Okay. So one of the things that we struggle with as businesses is how to balance promotional versus value driven. Is there, is it an 80-20 rule? Like where do you draw the line at shameless self promotion?
Email, I don't recommend doing a lot of shameless self-promotion unless you are a e-commerce B2C type company. If you are e-com, 100% drive that. You're going to drop your products in there pretty regularly. You want people to see that. You want it to be heavy. For service-based businesses and B2B, there is a time and a place. So, for instance, the way that we handle most of our email campaigns is our monthly email isn't really shameless self-promotion at all. Our monthly email is a value add. It is, here is important information about digital marketing that you need to know. Here is the tool that we like that might help you do your job better. Um, we're really just trying to deliver what our clients and customers need. However, we do also incorporate some of the sales type emails and promotional type emails throughout the month based on what we have going on. And I think it's definitely closer to probably an 80-20 rule of just making sure that most of the content you're sending out via email is not self-promotional, but adds value. Because if you're just promoting yourself, they're going to hit the unsubscribe button very quickly.
Yep, I agree. So I just read an article about how 85% of people are looking for some type of personalization in their email marketing. And that can be
Mhm.
very difficult for small businesses, particularly when they have limited data, name, address, and
Yeah.
email address, or first name, last name, and email address. So, what's an easy way or ways that businesses can personalize emails to make people feel more engaged with the content?
Yeah, so segmentation, as we mentioned, is one of the first ways to do it. So making sure that you're segmenting your groups or tagging your groups based on um, how you found them, how you got those emails, what those customers wanted, what they purchased, things like that. It's a good way to kind of personalize it. The other way is to use what are called merge tags, which you'll see in your email client that allow you to send out an email where when you're drafting the email, it'll go to, you put like a first name merge tag in there. It automatically pulls their first name in there so that it's hi so and so instead of just, you know, going directly into the email, which gives a little bit of personalization and makes it feel less like it's coming from a bot. Um, and then the other piece is just making sure that you're sending the right emails to the right people. That's really, I think, what matters, and not sending out via the segments or the tags a commercial based email to a residential client. Or I think the other thing is like with tags are another piece you can do. So let's say Gina goes to a networking event and comes back from that networking event with a bunch of business cards with new people that she's met. She's going to put those in MailChimp, and then she's going to tag them as X networking event. She knows that she met them at the networking event at the Center Club. So she knows that they are engaged members of the Center Club. She knows what Center Club members like. So when we send out an email, we're going to make sure that we are sending it based upon knowing that audience and knowing what they like specifically.
Yeah, that's
That
great.
makes sense.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen dear first name because people haven't tested the tags to make sure that they're set up properly in the email. So,
Yep.
just make sure you test everything before it gets sent out. That is terribly embarrassing when instead of saying dear Gina, it says dear first name.
Yeah. Testing is critical.
Yep.
Always send a test email.
Yep. So one of the things I hear because of how often we are buried with email is how often should we send emails and how can we avoid overwhelming subscribers?
A piece of this is industry specific, because when we're talking about, once again, e-commerce, B2C, regularly. You're going to send those, they send emails daily. And I don't think that that's necessarily a problem because they have new deals, they have new product, etc. However, once again, most of the people that we work with are B2B service based industries. Those don't need to go out nearly as often. Those are like maybe 1 to 2 a week, if that, but you want to keep it on the lower end because you don't want to crush people's inboxes and you don't want them to automatically delete because they see an email coming in. Um, so I would say no more than 1 to 2 a week. We send at least one a month. And then anything that we have that comes through that is critical news, or if we have a brand new product, we just launched an AI overview product, anything like that. Whenever you have something that's like time sensitive, go ahead and send it out. But otherwise, try to do it in kind of a roll up so that you're not overwhelming your clients or having them automatically just hit the delete button and jump out.
Okay. And again, value added. If you don't have something
Yep.
valuable to offer, don't send it.
Yep. If you don't have something to say, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's some components of an email campaign. There's the design, there's the headlines, mobile friendly emails. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of design and how visuals impact engagement rates? uh,
Hmm.
and then we'll let's answer that one, and then I've got a couple of other questions along the same subject.
Sure. So mobile on the mobile question, about 55% of emails are opened on mobile. So you want to make sure that your design is mobile friendly. And I will say MailChimp helps you make sure that it's mobile friendly. But you also want to consider, and this is kind of the hard part sometimes, is that you can't consider every single email delivery system when you set up an email because people receive emails differently. But the ones you really do have to consider are the way that Outlook receives emails, bless you, and the way that Gmail receives
Thank
emails.
you.
Um, you also want to consider that people use light mode and dark mode on their phones. So you don't want the email to be overly complicated in its design. It should be able to you should be able to read it on dark mode and light mode pretty easily. And then you want to make sure that any graphics in there are fairly simple. You want to keep your text fairly simple and easy to read. Don't use a script font. Don't vary your font sizes too much, with the exception of just like headlines. You want it to be simple and well designed and easy for people to read. So design is definitely a critical piece. Just I think the most important thing there is just to make sure that it is a simple design that's user friendly. If it's something that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, that's easy for me to get through, I could click on that and look through it pretty quickly and easily. I can see exactly where the different sections are. That's important too. So,
Okay. Um, I know that email winds up in spam folders, and you touched on that with Outlook. There are
mhm.
code that your email, you can set things up to accept it, but there's nothing that we can really do other than use an email client, a clean list, to ensure they're going into spam folders. But
Not
I
entirely
know,
true.
well, I know some things like videos get blocked. Like what are the no-nos to put in that email that wind up getting that email stuck in spam?
Yeah. So the first thing you want to do before anything else is you need to add records to your DNS, which, if you're not familiar, your DNS is where your I'm sorry, I'm really bad at explaining DNS, so I might need you to jump
Domain,
in and
it's
help
your
me with that.
domain name registrar. So
Yep.
it's pinkdogdigital.com is your domain. The place that you purchase that domain from is the registrar. And within the DNS records, you add flags and tags that say, I'm not a spammer. I could get
Yep.
way more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it.
So the very first thing you want to do is have your website company update your DNS with the proper records. I think it's DKIM and SPF are the two that need to go in for email. And usually, if you log into your email client, if that's MailChimp, if that's Content Contact, whatever it is, they'll give you a little prompt that has the information and they'll help you make sure that you have the records properly set up so that you can get to that next step. First, this is the first thing you need to do is basically verify your domain so that you don't end up in spam. Along with that, Gina mentioned videos will sometimes pop you into spam. The other thing you want to be careful about is your subject lines. A lot of times, I've worked previously for a financial newsletter. We had to be very, very careful about our subject lines. You can't say things like, um, if you say, like, earn up to $1 million or save $1 million or do this to get you know, all of these things for free and major capitalization with lots of exclamation points. Anything that is basically overwrought like that, they're automatically going to send to the spam folder. It needs to be your subject line needs to be clean and it needs to be something that you would typically see as far as just a regular sentence, regular headline goes. You can do things like put brackets in and say free, things like that. If it's just one capital word, you don't want to capitalize the whole thing. You don't want to put a bunch of exclamation points in. You don't want to put more than 1 to 2 emojis in. It needs to be fairly clean, but attention grabbing. Um, the other
Urgent,
thing, yep,
urgent, must read, emergency, words
yep,
like that people think, oh, they're going to open it if they see this. And then when they put it in, they never see it because it goes into spam.
exactly. Yeah. So it needs to be a little bit more they have to be kind of carefully crafted, and there are some services out there that will tell you exactly what the words are that will get you flagged, so I do recommend looking those up if you ever decide that you want to set a subject line that you might feel like is a little risky, always take a look and make sure that it's not something that's going to get you flagged. Um, the other thing is an email that has a bunch of different capitalization within the email, a bunch of different or weird punctuation, things like that. It needs to be grammatically correct. It needs to be well written. It needs to be clear that you are a human and not a bot, and that you are not a prince from Nigeria trying to sell somebody whatever or get them to click on your link. So, the other thing you want to have are clean links in there. So, the links back to your website, you can add UTM codes to them, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But you want to make sure that otherwise the links are clean and clear and back to your website, because if it sees a link that it thinks is suspicious, it may mark it as phishing or as spam. So, you need to be careful there too.
I'm
Um,
seeing so many articles saying that emojis in subject lines get a higher click-through rate. What's your experience there?
yeah, it's 100% true as far as what I've seen. And then, even if you log into MailChimp and you go to send an email, it will recommend that you add one emoji in there. I think the more important thing to note here is to make sure that whatever emoji you're adding actually adds interest to your subject line. So if you're doing a subject line that has to do with Halloween, add a ghost, add the little jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, whatever it is, a bat. But if you're doing a post about Halloween and you just want to throw an emoji in there to make it work, don't throw in the double exclamation point emoji. Don't throw in, a random sad face emoji. Just make sure that the emoji matches the subject line. But yes, it does definitely work well to add the emoji in there.
Okay.
Um, and then I think I mentioned UTM codes, which I'm going to go back to real quick
Yep.
because,
Well, great timing because I'm going into measuring success. So go,
okay.
go for it.
All right, cool. So UTM codes are codes that allow you add them to the end of your URL. There are UTM builders out there. I personally like Google's UTM code builder. They have one specifically for Google Analytics 4. But basically, what it allows you to do is add on some information about where the link is so you can see exactly where your traffic is coming from. So basically, if I set it up, I'm going to set up an email to go out on Halloween that is going to um, talk about our new AI tool. And so I want to say it'll allow me to add this little code on the end that says when it's going out, what campaign it is a part of, where it's coming from. So in this case, I would say it's in our newsletter. Um, and then it gives you a couple of other options too, but basically, usually keep it simple. We add 3 to 4 options on the end of the UTM to tell us when, where, how, so that we know when we look at Google Analytics, it'll show us that little UTM piece that tells us exactly where that traffic is coming from, which is nice and allows you to measure success on your campaigns to see which ones are working better. So if you've got 2 different campaigns going out about that AI tool, I can see which newsletter is driving more clicks on that campaign tool. And I can make sure that I am tailoring my future emails to look more like the one that is driving the clicks than the one that isn't driving as many clicks.
Okay. So you're talking about A/B testing.
No, I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like A/B testing. It allows you to do kind of that A/B testing piece, but mostly what it allows you to do is just see where the clicks are coming from. But it also can help with A/B testing, yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about open rates, click rates, A/B testing. How to utilize A/B testing to increase open and click. What's a good open and click rate? Like let's do a little bit of a deeper dive on ROI because, as a small business owner myself, I want to do all the things, but I don't have the time or cash to do everything. So what I want
Yep.
to do is, is it driving business growth? Is it driving revenue? Is it driving branding? What is it doing? And how can I best distill the information down to find out what is the most effective tool for my business?
Okay. That is a lot of questions, but yes, this is where it gets a little nerdy and data driven, which I think is kind of the most critical part of this is making sure that what you're sending out is working and not just continuing to send it out, whether or not it's working. Because the ROI is only going to be there if you're delivering the right things, and you only know if you're delivering the right things if you're reviewing what you've sent previously. So an average open rate across the board is around 30%. Um, it varies depending on industry, and it's going to vary depending on what you're sending out. So we will see our typical email campaign, our monthly email that goes out, that one hovers right around 30%. However, if we send out a one off email about a recent change in digital marketing laws or something along those lines that's specifically going to our client base, that one's going to have a little bit of a higher open rate. That one usually is closer to 50 or 60 because our clients know it is specific to them. But for just those kind of like typical emails, those regular campaigns, 30% is around what we're looking for. Click-through rate, a good click-through rate is somewhere between 3 and 6%, depending on your industry and depending on what you're doing. For service-based industries, 3 to 5% is great. For e-com, you're looking a little closer to wanting it around 10%. But just keeping an eye on those open and click rates. So the open rates are going to tell you if your subject line is working, if people want to look at your emails, and how often people are actually looking at those emails. So if your open rate is low, you want to focus on optimizing your subject lines better for your clients. And you want to also make sure that your timing is better, because if the timing is off or the subject line is off, people are not going to open it. Click-through rates tell you more about how engaged people are with your content. So if your click-through rates are good, it means that your links are in the right place. It means that people are interested in what you're saying and want to learn more about it. And it means that your content is doing what it needs to do. When your click-through rates are lower, you want to take a look more at the design of your newsletter, the content of your newsletter, and what links you have in there, or if you don't have enough links, if they're in the wrong spot, because that can affect it. So if we're putting out that email about the AI tool that I mentioned, we want to make sure that we don't just have a check out our AI tool button at the bottom. We want to link that AI tool in 4 or 5 different places within the email so that people can easily see it and click if they need to. You want to do it strategically. You don't just want to link any old word, but if I'm saying, if I'm talking about the AI tool within it and I'm giving more information about what it does, I might want to link back to the product page so that people can take a look at the product page and then go through and do it. So it's just a matter of making sure that your links are working for you, your design is working for you, and your content is working for you. If it's not, that's where you need to start strategizing to improve those click-through rates to your website. As far as A/B testing goes,
And you might want to
there are
explain what that is.
okay. So A/B testing is basically taking email A and doing one thing, taking email B, which is the same email, and changing one little thing about it. You don't want to change multiple pieces of that email. You want to test one thing at a time. If you test more than one thing at a time, you have no way of knowing which thing that you changed is the thing that needed to change. So if I'm doing the AI email again, I want to send out a version with a subject line that conveys urgency, and I'm going to send it out with a subject line that is a little less urgent, but maybe talks about finding more information. One of them is going to come back with a higher open rate. It tells me what my clients want. It tells me which one is working better for them. And that way I can tailor my subject lines going forward to ensure that they are working better. So the content within that email is exactly the same. The only thing that changed was the subject line. And that will help me kind of narrow down what I need to do to improve my open rates. As far as click-through rates go, I'm going to change something on the interior of the email of the content. Maybe I'm changing up my wording. Maybe I'm changing up what kind of graphics I use, or I'm seeing if one design works better than another, but I'm still sending out the same basic email just with one little difference in B compared to A. And I'm sending each one out to about 50% of my list so that I can get a good idea of which subject line or which content is working better and which ones my clients or customers prefer. Does
Okay.
that give a pretty good idea of what that looks like?
Yep. And I think that a lot of the A B testing I see is on subject lines. It's not even the content, it's the subject line. How compelling is that subject line to make me want to open it?
Yeah. And I think that, like I said, it really depends on what metrics you're looking at, making sure that your open rate is good. But if you're noticing that your click through rate is falling off entirely, you also want to take a deep look at the content inside of it and make changes there if you need to.
Okay. So we'll talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that is AI. And this is the best thing in the world and the worst thing in the world, and I recognize it. But what how can AI be used in email marketing campaigns? Are there specific tools out there that can be used to save time, increase impact? What do you think is going to happen with email marketing in light of this crazy AI blow up?
So start there with the what's going to happen. I think we're going to see a bit of a bell curve. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're going to see that in everything because I think we're going to see this point where email marketing is going to become more prolific. Content is going to be more prolific. There's going to be so much content for a little while that it's going to be insane because people are like, oh, I can just go to ChatGPT and have it spit out 20 pieces of content. And while that is true, I think that people are going to start looking at that and going, that's too much content. That's AI content. There's no value in that content. I don't want to see this. The unsub rates are going to get huge. And then people are going to go back to, oh, maybe I need to curate this a little bit more carefully. So, that being said, I think that across the board in web content and email marketing and social media posts, all of it, we're going to see it go like this. Um, The other thing I will say, as far as getting AI to help you with email marketing, AI is an excellent tool for email marketing. I will say I definitely use it. What I will do is if I have this tool that we're rolling out, I'll go into AI and I'll say, hey, I need a 5 email sequence campaign rolling out this tool. This is what this tool does. This is what my audience looks like. I need ideas for different ways to send this. I'd like to A B test it. Can you spit out what that 5 email campaign looks like and give me some ideas for subject lines and content? It's going to take it. It might ask me a question or two, and then it's going to spit out the whole thing. What I am not going to do at that point is copy it and paste it directly into my email. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in Google Docs, I'm going to edit it, I'm going to work it. And then if I have any issues with what it gave me, if I don't like what it gave me, I'm going to go back and say, hey, these are the changes I made based upon what you spit out. I also would like you to give me a completely different email for day 2 because I don't like the way this was done. Here are my thoughts. And then it's going to give me back a different day 2, and it's going to take the information that I gave it and it's going to learn from that. So the next time I ask it for another email campaign, it has a better idea of what I want. So across the board, I think that AI is an excellent tool for email marketing. You just have to make sure that you are teaching your AI tool, that you are not relying on your AI tool to do all of the work, because AI is only as good as the person who is prompting it and editing it. And, just generally making sure that you're using it as a tool and not as the end all be all. And that's good to hear, Janine. I'm glad that it's working for you that way too, because that is definitely the best way to use AI for things like that. So that's good to know.
Well, and I think you just touched on some really technical things that the average small business person doesn't understand. Like, what do you mean set up a sequence? How do I fire the sequence in a way that is not sending all 5 at one on one day, or whatever that looks like? What AI tools are you using? ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude? Like, where are you in this space?
First of all, if you hear any background noise, I apologize. My neighbors are currently overhauling their house, so I have some construction going on next door. That aside, I am using I use ChatGPT and I use Gemini. I like Gemini's writing better, but I like ChatGPT's reasoning a little bit more. So it just kind of depends on the situation. And then MailChimp also has a built-in AI. So they will help you refine emails, refine subject lines, things like that as well within the actual email platform. Um, Aside from that, for emails, that's basically all I'm using is, primarily ChatGPT to give me the information.
Okay. So I'll pause at this point to see if there's any questions. And if there are not questions, then we're going to go into closing, and I'm going to want to talk a little bit about pricing. What's the first steps that people can take to start to do this? Um, and a common myth about email marketing that business owners understood. And I realize I gave you a lot, so I'll break that down. But let's start with what is the cost?
Yeah, so the nice thing about email is it is one of the lower cost ways to get into your clients, to be able to get to your clients and your customers and your prospects. So, for instance, if you're going through MailChimp, it's $20 a month for 500 contacts. And that will allow you to send multiple emails out. So you can send, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what the number is with how many emails you can send, but it's a high number. I know that you could probably send 10 to 15 emails a month and not hit their limit for that $20 a month subscription fee. The more contacts that you have, the more it's going to cost you. But for those smaller lists, and if your list is, I'm sorry, it's up to 6,000 emails a month, which is it's 6,000 total emails. So if you're sending to 500 people, it's some math that my brain is not going to work out right now, but it's upwards of 10 emails for that month. Um, and then there are a couple platforms out there that will allow you to start for free under 500 contacts. So basically, you're going in, you don't have as many features, but you're still able to send out those emails and at least get started. So, email marketing is one of the most affordable and effective ways to get out there. And then the only other cost that's really associated is obviously the time and the effort to actually create those emails and get those sent out, which, if you're a small business, that might be you as the CEO or president, or it might be somebody on your team who is able to put that together, or an agency that is able to take care of it for you.
And how long does it take to create the template, the content, set up the campaign parameters, and actually get it sent out?
That setup is the hardest part, which I think is the case with a lot of things, but the setup is the most time consuming part for sure. So for an agency, it takes us about an hour to set up a template, about an hour to go through an email list, make sure everything is properly set up and segmented, and then to send out an email and put it together within the template and all of that, about a half an hour to an hour, depending. But that's, for us, we're in it every single day. If you're doing this on your own, it's going to take a little bit longer just to familiarize yourself with the product. You're going to want to read through a little bit and understand how everything works. So it takes a little bit longer. And then if you're setting up a sequence where you're having the emails go out triggered at certain times, so you can set it up within MailChimp, for instance, where I want to send out an email sequence of 5 emails. I don't want to go in 5 times over the course of 2 weeks and set those up. I can go in and set those up in advance so that they trigger to go out on day 1, on day 3, on day 5, whatever that looks like, and they send out a little bit at a time. That takes a little bit longer to set up those parameters and make sure that everything is ready to go and tested. So it just kind of depends on the situation. But I will say, as far as setting up a template, about an hour to an hour and a half, setting up the content, about an hour or so, and then maintaining your list hygiene, which is really important. And list hygiene just makes sure that you are getting rid of the people who aren't opening your emails or the people who the emails bounce, which means they go to their inbox and then immediately get marked either as spam or they just don't get delivered. Making sure that that's getting cleaned out as well is probably about a half an hour a month or so, just to make sure that that stays clean.
Okay. What is the first step a business owner should take to embark on an email marketing campaign?
First step is to find an email client that you like. So whether that's MailChimp or Constant Contact, which, like I said, we love MailChimp personally, but it is finding that email client and signing up. And then once you've done that, figuring out what is your value add? Why are you sending these emails? Know your why before you decide to start sending them out.
Okay.
And then building your list, which is typically the hardest part of anything. So,
Yeah, for sure. I can't tell you how many clients have been in business for 25 years and they have no email marketing because they started on paper and they've never changed their processes.
yeah.
So building that list is mission critical for a variety of reasons. Um, Future of email marketing. How do you anticipate it evolving over the next few years?
Interesting question. That's murky because of the way that AI is changing everything. Email marketing, the only way that I feel like it has evolved strongly in the last few years is to allow for more testing, more data, more information so that when we're delivering email, it's better. And then making sure that email is cleaner and that we're not getting as much spam. So I think that's the main ways that it's evolved in the past, which, gives us a little bit of a glimpse into the future where I think that email marketing is going to stay pretty consistent as far as what we have going on right now, because it's one of those places where email's not going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to have to continue to communicate with our coworkers. We're going to have to continue to communicate with our clients. That information is always going to need to be there. So I think any changes are going to continue to be, we're not going to send as many emails, but I think we're still going to continue to do it as long as they have the value add in there, because I think people are going to spend less time wanting to open emails that don't have a lot of value, which just goes to the whole point of making sure that your emails are providing value and checking those metrics consistently to see if your clients, customers, and prospects are happy with the emails you're sending.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that one?
I think that my other question was about the common myth. And I think the common myth is that people don't open their email. And I think that's wrong. I think people open
Hmm.
their email because they have so much FOMO about what might be in that email. But I think that the evolution is going to be ensuring that that value add is right there as soon as you open it. I don't want to have to scroll. I don't want to have to hunt. I don't want to have to look. I don't want to go to the bottom, see bottom for coupon code, whatever. I want it to be right there as soon as I open it. I
Yep.
think that you're going to see more video happening in email marketing. Um, and I struggle with it myself because I hate opening an email and having a video automatically play because it's jarring. But I think video with captioning is going to be a big thing. People don't want to read anymore. And it's not just in email, it's in social media, it's in advertising, it's in all the things. Video. So as soon as they can figure out how to ensure that that video actually gets into your client's inbox and not into their spam box, I think you're going to see a lot more of that. Um,
Yep.
it's people are lazy and they're getting lazier. And I hate to be, my grandmother from 50 years ago, but it's just, it's the thing.
Attention spans are short and you need to grab attention quickly, which is something we talk about all the time when it comes to email marketing, or not email marketing, I'm sorry, websites. We want to gain attention quickly and we want to keep it, which can be challenging. So the main thing that we try to do is ensure that as much information is above the fold as possible, which that fold is as soon as you scroll, you're going below the fold. So trying to make sure as much information is above the fold as possible on a website, and I think that that remains the same for email marketing. So that's a really great point.
Okay. So shameless self-promotion. I haven't even done 20% of it. Where can listeners go to get more help, um, or to start or to improve their email marketing strategy and campaigns?
I'm so glad you asked. We offer email marketing help as far as from beginning to end. So that is getting you signed up, cleaning up the email list, making sure that things are segmented, creating and developing those designs and templates, and then the actual content for those, as well as drip campaigns and nurturing sequences, monthly emails, whatever that looks like. We handle it. We also are a MailChimp partner, so we are able to provide discounts on MailChimp, and help you create your emails there and clean those up. Make sure that we're reviewing those analytics that we mentioned earlier as far as bounce rate, not bounce rate, I'm sorry, open rate, click through rate, all of those fun rates. So that's
All right.
where we recommend you get started.
I couldn't agree more. Um, Last thing is just real quick. There is email marketing and there is marketing automation. Marketing automation is probably 2.0 on this webinar. But if people want to listen to this after the fact, Coral, where can they go to listen or watch this? This
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 webinar,
situation. Yeah.
yeah, that would be on our YouTube channel. We will also be sharing it on our social media channels after this and sending it out via email. So you will see this in a few different ways.
Okay. All right.
Um,
I don't have any
Janine,
final words, do you?
well, Janine had a question.
Oh,
She asked
go.
why MailChimp is our favorite. Um, MailChimp is my favorite because I find it the most user friendly as far as creating the templates and dropping the content in there. And then I also really like their AI tools. They provide a lot of support, which I think is really nice. I'm able to actually see all of those analytics that I'm looking for. I'm able to reach out to support if I need it. I like their AI tools. I like the fact that it's simple interface as far as the design goes. I'm not a designer. I'm not a programmer, but I can set up a pretty nice looking email template within MailChimp pretty quickly and have it look polished and professional. So that's the main reason I like it so much. Also, the
I
pricing is
also
good.
think it's very cost effective.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Great minds think alike. All right.
um,
Any further questions and any final thoughts?
so we'll wait to see if there are any more questions. I'll drop my final thoughts. Email marketing is excellent for return on investment. I really truly don't think it's going anywhere. It's one of the easiest ways to get in front of your clients quickly, and it's just a good touch point. People who are on your email list are already engaged with you. So I think that it's really important to deliver to them where they are. And that's, my main thought on email marketing. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's going to continue to deliver good ROI, and I think it is definitely worth investing in.
Couldn't agree more. All right. Well, with that, we will give you 4 minutes of your day back. We will have another topic for next month, and hopefully, it will be interesting and engaging for everyone. Go out and check out your email lists, clean them up, make sure that you have a great list going in, and you'll have great results coming out of the campaign.
Exactly.
All right. Everybody have a great day.